Welcome to Hot Topics, powered by the Suncoast Tampa Association of Realtors, live from the Fabre Framework Studio. I'm your host, Quan Rimmer, and today we're diving into the world of first-time home ownership, the excitement, the challenges, and the strategies that help turn renters into homeowners. We've got an industry pro in the studio today who knows exactly how to make that dream happen. So let's get ready to rumble into home ownership.
Rumble, I like it.
Oh, yes. In this corner, representing Van Dyke Mortgage. He's been in the mortgage game for over 22 years, building a reputation as one of the most trusted names in lending. He's been recognized among the top 1% of mortgage originators in the nation every year since 2011. And his team, the Sean Miller team, has helped thousands of families across Florida find creative financing solutions that actually work. He's a master of down payment assistance programs, a go-to partner for realtors who want smooth, predictable closings, and a fierce advocate for first-time buyers who need that extra edge to get approved. Whether it's structuring complex deals, navigating challenging credit, or turning not yet into your approved, he's been doing it with all heart, hustle, and results. Please welcome back to Hot Topics, Sean, the lone strategist Miller.
I feel like I'm watching the Chicago Bulls back when Jordan used to play in the beginning.
Yes.
Thanks.
Welcome back, Sean.
Thanks for having me.
Man, yes.
Okay.
Let's start with the big one. What's the number one thing you wish every first-time home buyer knew before starting their journey?
Well, I mean, they can get stressed. And, I try to ease their stress. It's an exciting time to be able to buy,
Yes.
But it's also a little bit stressful as well, too. I was like, well, think about it this way. You're going to have a payment whether you rent or whether you buy. So
It's true.
just, try to stay calm, have trusted advisors, lender, realtor that you can trust are the most important things. People that are going to have your back and look out for you.
That's good. Sean, what inspired you to even get into the industry, to even help first-time home buyers?
I did new home sales in 2001, 2002, and the first part of 2003. I was a mathematics major in college, so I always liked the numbers side of things. I just didn't exactly love sitting in the model home every single Saturday, every single Sunday, all day. And I always, again, back then, I used to be able to go over the payments, the cash to close, the credit reports as a sales rep. They allow me to do that, and I enjoyed that part of it. So I ended up going full-fledged into mortgages then 2003. And for the most part, when you get started, you're going to deal with a lot of first-time home buyers as a loan officer. Those are typically going to be your first clients are going to be the first-time home buyers. Now, I've been doing this for 23 years. I still deal with first-time home buyers, but a lot of my first-time home buyers that bought 10 years ago, 15 years ago, are now buying another house through us. So I'm not dealing with all first-time home buyers now, but it is a great feeling like when somebody is getting the keys to their first house and being able to move in. The one negative part about me being on the lending side of things, I don't get to see them in the home. Like a real estate agent, they get that's the fun part, being able to show them the houses. I'm dealing with the numbers,
the not so fun part sometimes.
The interest they're paying.
Yes. So tell me, from your perspectives in lending, what is the biggest misconception first-time buyers have when they start their home buying process?
Monthly payment. They aren't realistic a lot of times about the monthly payment that it's probably going to be to get the home that they're going to want. So lots of people remember the house that their parents lived in when they were graduating high school, maybe not the house that their parents lived in when they were a really little kid. Right. So people, want, a super nice house for the cheapest possible payment, and that isn't always
realistic,
especially, over the last few years where interest rates are higher, 22 in 2022, 2023, 2024 than what they were in previous years. Now, We've actually seen some reprieve with interest rates of
Yeah,
late.
yeah.
I almost hate to tout it too much because, the last few years in the fall, in October, interest rates have gotten worse for 3 consecutive years in a row. Now, this year, knock on wood, we've been good
Oh,
this
yeah.
October. So
Yes.
that's exciting because making the home affordable is important, especially for the first-time home buyers.
Yes. What are some of the most important first steps a potential buyer should take before they even start looking for a home?
Well, first step, most times you're going to speak with a real estate agent. Most times,
Right.
My suggestion would be very soon after doing that, talk with a lender. Let's see what you're going to qualify for. You may, want a house payment of $2,000 a month. You may qualify for a house payment of $4,000 a month, and you need to see where that's going to put you.
Yeah.
Most times the amount of money that the buyer says they want to pay per month is usually a good bit less than what they're going to have to pay to get the home that they want. So,
Makes sense.
so talking with a lender, making sure they pull your credit. Now, a recent change within the last 12 months, we're doing soft credit inquiries a lot more frequently now than hard credit inquiries on their credit report. So lots of times the first-time home buyers are like, oh, I don't want to ding my credit. And they'll be hesitant to move forward with a pre-qual if we're going to do a hard inquiry. Well, now we can do a soft inquiry to pre-qual them. We can also run our automated underwriting approvals with the soft inquiry. We didn't used to be able to do that. So we want to make sure that we're not putting clients in their vehicle and real estate agents' vehicles and them not be able to qualify for the home they're buying.
Okay. That's good.
So
touching on that, because buyers do worry about those credit scores. What is a realistic score to aim for, and what can someone do if their score is not quite there yet?
Yeah, so a very popular first-time home buyer program is the Florida Housing Down Payment Assistance Program. That requires a 640 credit score minimum for government loans. That's FHA, VA, and USDA loans. VA is for veterans, people in the military. USDA is a rural housing loan. So there's not as many areas around here any longer that are rural housing. Some areas of Valrico, Ruskin, Apollo Beach, like Wesley Chapel used to be a long time ago, not any longer. There may be some areas of Zephyr Hills, the further north you go in Pasco. So the Florida housing requires a 640 credit score.
Okay.
If it's a single family home. If it's a manufactured home, they require a 660 credit score. So ideally 640. Now, for conventional down payment assistance, even though the minimum credit score requirement is 640, generally we're not going to get our computer generated underwriting approvals with under like a 700 credit score, 720 credit score, maybe even 740 credit score. So it just depends for conventional.
Okay. You just mentioned there's so many loan programs, FHA, conventional, VA, the various assistant grants. How do you help clients determine which one fits them best?
Yeah, so there are city programs, there are some county programs, there are state programs. The state program through Florida Housing is by far and away the easiest. Okay. City of Tampa has an outstanding down payment assistance program if the house is within the city of Tampa limits. However, it's not the easiest to get approved for. They have stricter income limits with a lot of these city and county programs than the state program does. So can't make quite as much money a lot of times, not all times. They also have stricter debt to income ratio requirements, and they also have stricter condition of property requirements. So like the city of Tampa, outstanding program, but we have to provide a home inspection that the buyer does, and also the city does their own home inspection.
Oh, wow.
So any repairs on there, the city wants taken care of. So that sometimes isn't always possible because a lot of these houses aren't going to be in mint condition.
Right.
They're not going to be new. So the state program, it's just a regular appraisal. We underwrite it, where the city programs, county programs, they sometimes run out of money. We run out of time with getting it closed because they take longer, or the property doesn't qualify. So state program by far and away is the easiest because it's just a traditional underwrite of the loan.
Okay.
The state program is typically $10,000 of down payment assistance. There are options where you can get $12,500 of down payment assistance where there's a second mortgage payment tied to it. And there's also a Hometown Heroes program, which is really popular now. There they get 5% of the loan amount, not to exceed $35,000. That's for your first responders, police officer, firefighter, nurses, people in the medical field, teachers, veterans, so people in education. They have to be working for a Florida-based company full-time for that program. That doesn't always have funds. It does currently have funds in it right now, though. That's an awesome program.
Okay. So you just talked about a lot of local and state down payment assistance program. What roles does all these programs play in today's market? And are there any new or maybe lesser known options buyers should be aware of?
Well, so every once in a while there's a GTAR grant, the Realtor Cares Foundation, but that doesn't always have funds.
Now known as STAR.
I'm sorry.
Now known
Sorry,
as STAR.
Star. I don't know if there's a STAR program, but
Yes.
okay. But the city program, the county program, what I always suggest, listen, even if you're buying within the city of Tampa limits, it's fine if you want to go get approved for that down payment assistance to the city of Tampa, but that's going to be the best case scenario. I want to prepare them for worst case scenario. So worst case scenario, we just use the regular state-backed down payment assistance program. And if we have time or if there's funds available, we can sometimes even stack those programs on top of each other. Doesn't make it easier. Okay. So just try to prepare them for worst case scenario.
Okay. Okay.
The city and county programs, a lot of times the buyers may have to take that class, the home buyer class, in person, and they can't start putting offers on homes until they're approved for that city program.
Okay.
Where the state-backed program, they can put offers in right away, and it's a free online home buyer course they can take, and it doesn't take like an extreme amount of time. The City of Tampa program, though, the realtor and the lender have to be on the approved lender and realtor list. So
Okay.
it's a little bit different than on the state-backed program. Just the lender has to be on the approved list.
How could a realtor get on that list?
It used to be an in-person class. Now, you can contact me and I can email you the point of contact. It's Trina Gaston Gardner. She's with the City of Tampa. But get a hold of me and I can forward you the link to take the class.
Nice, nice. So interest rates, we just was talking about them. They're always a major topic of discussion. How should first-time buyers approach purchasing now in that higher rate environment?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, talk with your lender, get pre-approved, have them run numbers. So I have a client that says, hey, I want to bump my purchase price range up to $375,000. I pre-approved her up to $250,000 to $275,000 based on what she wanted to pay per month. Okay. Mm-hmm. So she wanted to pay $2,400 per month. I was like, well, for the properties that you're looking for, you probably want to stay around a $250,000 sales price. She's like, well, I want to bump my price up to $375,000. I was like, okay, well, just realize your monthly payments are going to be going over $3,000 per month. So have the lender run, hey, here's your payments at $250,000, here's your payments at $300,000, $350,000, $400,000. So they have an idea, because once they go look at a $400,000 property, it's going to be tough for them to settle on a $250,000 property.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be looking for more expensive houses than A, you qualify for, B, that you're comfortable affording.
Okay, yes. Don't want to fall in love with a house you can't afford.
Yeah. and it's easy to that's easy to do. The higher the price point, it's much easier to fall in love with those houses.
Yeah.
You need to remember, like, listen, this isn't going to be the house you're probably going to live in forever. You know, you may be in your first house 5 to 7 years, used to be the average. Maybe now might be a little bit longer.
Yes. Tell me, you got any advice for buyers who are, competing right now in a tight inventory markets, or they might go in against cash offers?
Yeah. So what we'll do, we'll get their file underwritten after they get us all their income documents, and then we can give them a certificate saying all they need to do is order the appraisal. So then the sellers are going to feel more comfortable taking their offer versus if they haven't even had their income documents reviewed. So it's important for the buyers, get in your W-2s, your tax returns, your pay stubs, bank statements to the lender, and see if the lender will underwrite it while they're out and about looking. Okay. So I won't stop them from looking prior to underwriting it, but it's a good idea if they can have that done.
Okay. What are some creative ways these first-time buyers can make their offers stand out, without overextending themselves?
Yeah. So they can write a letter, like a personal letter. Hey, my parents live on this street, or hey, I grew up on this street. Hey, I have 3 kids. They're in this school. So to make it more personable, just write it like a letter, to the seller, for why you want to buy the house. Funny story. Back in 2020, 2021, when rates were low and the offers were crazy, I had a buyer once that put in the remarks section that they offered the seller a $300 gift card to Burns Steakhouse. It was pretty, yeah, it's a
Wow.
funny story. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it worked.
The sellers definitely got a chuckle out of that one. That was a good one. Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, that's the only time I ever heard of a buyer doing that, but I thought it was that was pretty sweet.
Yeah, whatever it takes to close the deal.
Yeah, but I would say, again, having like the lender underwrite the file, have the loan officer at the lending company call the listing agent to help strengthen the chance to get the offer accepted. Hey, listen, I got Bob and Sue's income documents. I already reviewed their tax returns, their W-2s. Everything looks good. It's not contingent upon the sale of any home. It's their first house. So that's important for sellers to know. But yeah, having the lender call to help strengthen the chance to get the offer accepted is good too.
Perfect, like that. What can realtors do to better educate and prepare these first-time buyers before they even meet with you?
Man, meeting with them, doing a one-on-one to find out their needs, and wants. Do they need a 4-bedroom or do they want a 4-bedroom? Do they need a 3-car garage or do they want a 4 garage? Do they need a pool or do they want a pool? So now I've never been a licensed real estate agent, but I know the good agents will typically meet with those buyers before they do the consultation up front. Now some buyers, they don't want to even do the pre-approval till they find the house. Well, that's a big mistake. First and foremost, they may be wasting their time, the realtor's time. The sellers have to leave the house. They have to clean the house. So they may have to take their dog somewhere, kids somewhere. So, doing the consultation with the realtor and then doing the consultation with the lender just to ensure they have all their ducks in a row, so to speak.
Okay. During these consultations, how can agents effectively communicate financing options to clients without giving financial advice?
Yeah, so we do a mortgage 101 course with real estate agents. And we've done those countless over the years, where we can just give the agents enough to be dangerous. Now, the more transactions the agent closes, the more learning experiences they have.
Right.
Even me, 23 years in, closed thousands of loans. I say, wow, that's the first time that's come up before. Way more often than I like, just because everybody, their employment situations are different, their living situations are different, their family situations are different. There aren't a lot of cookie cutter transactions, I feel like, anymore. I'm not saying none, but there's just not a lot of cookie cutter, one-stop shop. That's one thing I really like about what I do for a living is it's different problem solving every day, and you're helping people overcome credit challenges, maybe short time on job, not enough money in the bank, strategizing. Can you do gift funds? Can you pull out of their retirement accounts? So just going over the different options with them.
Yes. And what are some red flags realtors should look for early in this process that might signal a buyer, needs additional preparation or support?
One big thing is if they're separated from a spouse. That's a big deal because we've had clients that purchase a home or put a contract on a home, get the contract signed. They're separated from their spouse. They're trying to buy without the spouse in Florida. The state of Florida makes the spouse, if they're not divorced prior to closing, sign off on some of the documents at closing. So if they're separated, it's a big deal. If they're in between jobs, it's a big deal. If they're saying they're shopping for a car, hold off on doing that until you talk with a lender, to make sure. If they have no money in the bank, if they say they have, let's say crappy credit, but if they say they have challenge credit, we can do a soft inquiry, doesn't affect their scores negatively, and then we can, help them strategize. Hey, listen, if their credit score is too low, we can give them ideas to improve it.
Okay. From your experience, what are the best practices for realtors when collaborating with lenders to create a smooth experience for first-time buyers?
Making sure to ask the lender questions, and making sure to vet them like their experience wise, so like, a realtor, if they're working with a loan officer they're not familiar with, they can look up on our NMLS licensing to see how long they've been doing it.
Okay.
So we were competing against another lender once, and the other lender, the guy had only been a loan officer for a month, and the week prior he was a manager at Chuck E. Cheese Pizza.
Oh my goodness.
Nothing wrong with being a manager at Chuck E. Cheese Pizza. However, like there's a lot going on with these loans.
Yeah.
And again, I'm 23 years in, and I have learning experiences. I don't say daily, but like every week where I have learning experiences, things that I'll figure out like, wow, that hasn't come up before, and here's what I need to do so that doesn't happen again. But asking the lender questions. Did you receive the buyer's income documents? Have you pulled a tri-merge credit report? Did you run the computer-generated underwriting approval? We actually have a sheet that says questions to ask when you don't know the lender that we can give to the agents.
I like that because just in case somebody else tries to hire Chuck E. Cheese and the Rat Gang. So can you share some of them questions a realtor should be asking when they're doing an interview with a lending partner?
Yeah. So, hey, like what, have you pulled a tri-merge credit report? What are their credit scores? Are you sure that qualifies for the program they're doing? Like, by the way, if they're doing down payment assistance, typically they require a 640 credit score. Do you have that? Have you ran the automated underwriting approval? They might refer to them as DU findings or LP findings. They're the automated underwriting engines that the government-sponsored entities have all lenders run. So you want to make sure that the lender has done that. With doing the tri-merge credit report, doing a hard inquiry tri-merge credit report has to be done prior to closing. Okay. So if they've only done, hey, have you done a hard pull? Have you done a soft pull? Oh, you only did a soft pull. Okay. Did they have good credit scores? Yeah, their credit scores are at a 780. Okay. Then you're probably good that they didn't do the hard pull at that exact time. But if they have like a 640 credit score and they're trying to do down payment assistance, that's right on the borderline. So you want to make sure that the lender does that hard credit pull at that time. But yeah, if you receive the buyer's pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns, anything that I need to be aware of, like are they married, the spouse isn't going on the loan, are they still together, asking those kind of questions.
Okay. How can realtors help buyers remain realistic and confident during the negotiations or after the pre-approval when, emotions start to run really high when they find out what they actually can afford?
Yeah. Well, I'd say the time when I got the most nervous when I bought a house, is when you're putting the offer in, not knowing whether it's going to get accepted, and you love the house. You fall in love with the house. And there's two other houses you saw and you really don't like them as much, and you're putting that offer in. Now it's more of a buyer's market. So you don't have as much competition like you did in previous years, but that doesn't mean that multiple offers don't come in.
Right.
So, trusting your real estate agent, like if your agent's saying, the property's listed for $350,000, buyer wants to come in at an offer of $300,000. Well, and your agent's saying, listen, it's not realistic that the seller is going to take this offer at $300,000. So you may lose out on this property. So trusting your agent, if they're saying, hey, listen, you probably want to go in a little higher, they're not saying that to make more in commissions. Right. They're trying to help you get the house. What else? After you go under contract, then questioning, did I pay too much for this property? It was listed for $350,000. I put an offer in for, $340,000. Could I, or $345,000? Could I have got them a little bit less? I thought that when I bought my house, having an agent on the buy side to negotiate for you is important too. So when I bought the home I live in now, the home I bought it from a realtor who I knew, and it was her own personal house.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm like, okay, well, I want to get as good of a deal as I can, and you want to get as much for the house as you can.
Right.
So it's a little hard it's harder to negotiate when you're doing it like that. So like having an actual buyer's agent versus going in and using the listing agent on a transaction. So I have some buyers that'll put offers in with just the listing agents because they think they're going to get a better deal. My dad, funny story, my dad actually did that. He had, this is right after I first got into business, and he was telling the story we were at a family get together, and he was like, yeah, I used like 15 different realtors when we bought this house. I was like, what did you say, Dad? He said, I used 15 different realtors. Like, what do you mean 15 different realtors? He goes, well, we went to see 15 different houses, and it was just 15 different realtors. I was like, Dad, just get one agent that can like narrow your search, can help
Right.
guide you through it so you're not double working things. Because if you're dealing with a listing agent, like they're not technically working just on your behalf. Like
Right.
they're an in between.
Oh
So
my.
yeah, so
Yeah.
finding an agent that you're happy with, that does a good job, has good, like customer service surveys,
Perfect.
that's what I would say.
Perfect. On that note, we're going to take a break. Hot Topics live at Fabre Framework Studios. We are back. Hot Topics at the Fabre Framework Studios. It's time for the hot seat. You get 2 minutes to make your pitch. Tell our realtors and listeners what makes your team the go-to partner for first-time buyers.
I would say, we're local, we're experienced. Like as far as our team goes, we do have loan officers on the team, male, female, bilingual. So that helps out. Spanish speaking. That's it for bilingual, Spanish and English. But yeah, I mean, I've been in this for 23 years. Other originators on the team, 10 plus years. So experience is key. Being able to know what type of products is going to be best for the client is what we're really good at. We have a wide variety of products for first-time home buyers, for repeat buyers, for investors that don't claim a lot of income on their tax returns. We have options where we don't have to have any income documents. Those type of products are becoming more popular as well too. They're called non-QM loans, and that's like we can use their for self-employed people bank statements. Business bank statements over 12 to 24 months for qualifying. But for your traditional first-time home buyers, your traditional conventional loans, FHA loans, VA loans, USDA loans, we're a direct lender on all those. For those products, there you need traditional income documents, your pay stubs, your W-2s, if you're self-employed, personal business tax returns. But yeah, I mean, I was we're local, we're experienced, and we're really good. I've been with Van Dyke Mortgage for 15 years, and I have no complaints. If a loan officer can't be successful at our company, I don't feel like they're going to be successful anywhere. So
Nice. Now, make sure you tell the listeners how they can find you, contact info with.
Yep. So you can contact us at our office at 727-214-6400 or my website, SeanMillerHomeLoans.com or the SeanMillerTeam.com. And Sean's SHAWN, just so everybody knows. Okay.
Perfect. I like it. Let's get back to these questions. So, what is the one thing you wish every realtor understood about the lending process that would make transactions smoother for everyone?
Well, so, I mean, no transactions necessarily the same. Having an idea of what income documents that are required. The buyers have a tendency to go to the realtors to complain during the loan process because they typically have a better rapport with the agents. So like when an agent has been working with me for years, they're not going to question me as much as when I first start working with an agent, potentially. Like they may question you more until they build that trust with the lender. Right. So just realizing that we're not asking for documentation that we don't need. So if we're asking them, hey, we need an additional bank statement, or we need an additional pay stub prior to closing, or we're trying to verify their employment and their employer's not calling us back, like trying to support, like saying, hey, listen, I'm sure the reason the lender's asking for this is a valid reason. Or they'll say, hey, I already gave the lender this 3 times. Well, okay, they did give us their bank printout 3 times, but the bank printout they gave us, they took pictures of them on their cell phone and it's missing the bottom of the page or the side of the page. So like there's reasons we're asking for things. Now, in some cases, like we leave message for the buyers. They don't answer the phone. Some people don't check their voicemails. So like we have systems in place where we'll email the buyers. We'll also put required documents in our secure portal where they can upload their income documents into there, or pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements, conditions. So supporting the lender doesn't mean you can't call the lender and ask a question to try to help the buyer understand it more, but just trying to support, like if the lender is asking you for this because they need it.
Let's go. What is the one common mistake you see first-time buyers make that could easily be avoided with better preparation?
Oh man, opening credit cards,
New furniture,
buying a car, switching jobs, buying furniture before they
rooms to
own the
go
home.
credit.
Yeah, I mean, putting their notice in with their landlord that they're gonna move out of their apartment because they try to time it out perfectly. They're closing November 30th, their lease is up, November 30th, and they're trying to time it out perfectly. Well, I get that, but you definitely don't be putting your notice in with your landlord until at least your loan's approved, your appraisal, your home inspection's done, sign off on, and your appraisal's approved. At least. When I bought my first house, or not my first house, I bought my second house in Florida, I was renting. I waited till the day I closed to let my landlord know that I was moving out. Now I gave him a heads up, but I didn't terminate my lease until the day I closed because I had a seller pass away once during a transaction. And I tell that to my clients. And that's one time. But if your seller passes away during a transaction, that's going to get potentially tied up in probate and you're not going to be able to close. Then you're homeless. Now, if your parents live around here, your brother and sister have a big house and you have a place that you can move, okay, you can try and time it out then. Yeah. But you just don't want to be homeless.
Yeah. Oh, man. So how early should someone begin preparing both financially and mentally for home ownership?
Well, so the first house that I bought in Florida, I think it was back in 2008, we looked for almost a year to find a house. Fast forward at that year mark, we extended our lease because we didn't find one. Didn't find a house. Of course, we found a house 2 weeks later. Okay. Oh. So I think within a year of getting ready to really start looking, I mean, you could at least have a conversation with a lender, especially for your self-employed clients where, they tend to write off a lot of their income on their tax returns. If you can get ahead of that, and maybe you don't have your accountant be so aggressive with writing every single thing off. Like if you're not going to qualify for the home, maybe you need to be a little more realistic with what you're telling the IRS that you're actually making. Yeah. So I would say, having within a year. Now, again, those people that try to time it out closer to when their lease is going to expire, if you have a lease expiring December 1st. If you're closing in October, you don't have a house payment in October or in November, your first house payment's December 1st. So you have a little bit of leeway there, but you definitely don't want to just wait to start the process with a lender until 60 days prior to your lease is ending because there may be things on your credit report that you don't know about. You may not qualify for the type of home that you're going to want to buy. So I would say with probably a year out just to get an idea, because then you can get an idea of, hey, do I need to save up, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000? How much do I need to save up for, if you're doing an FHA loan and you don't happen to qualify for down payment assistance, you have to have 3.5% down. For a conventional loan, if you don't qualify for down payment assistance, you have to do 3% down. Now you can get gifts from a family member. You could, sometimes people do a loan against their 401k. They have, maybe funds in Bitcoin or, something that they want to, use that. So talking to the lender ahead of time so you know how all that works.
Okay. How important is it for the buyers to work with a realtor early in the process? And what qualities should first-time buyers look for?
So I would say the simplest thing, if you have somebody that has used an agent, one time, multiple times, and they had a great experience with them, and that agent has good reviews on Facebook or Zillow or Realtor.com, and they have good reviews, I would say that, again, probably word of mouth. You have somebody that has had a good experience with that realtor or with that lender. That's probably the simplest way to do it. And then talk with them and see if you connect, and, if you do, great. If you don't, talk to somebody else that has bought a house and they had a different realtor, and just see who you connect well with. Okay. And they may not, the agent that they use may not even be in the business anymore. They may have moved. They may live in Spring Hill now and you're looking in, Valrico, so finding an agent that's going to be able to service the area that you're looking into is going to be important.
Good. Can you share a success story of a first-time buyer who overcame challenges and achieved home ownership through your proper guidance and teamwork?
Yeah. Well, it's nice when they listen to your guidance and teamwork. Okay. Same with my kids. It's nice when my daughters listen to my advice. Okay. Even though our wives don't. I'm just kidding. I just kidding. So credit challenges is usually like if their credit scores aren't high enough. A lot of times that may be the easiest thing to correct. And sometimes it's not if their credit's very damaged. But like sometimes like if their credit scores are at a 620 credit score, they want to get to a 640 to go to a down payment assistance program. It may be as simple as opening up one credit card. Like if you just have student loans on your credit report, okay, or a car loan, having one revolving credit card on there is always good that you use, pay off. You really only need one or two. Leaving a little balance on that credit card. Okay. It could be as simple as that. It could be as simple as, they got a 620 credit score. They want to do down payment assistance at a 640 and they have a medical collection for $110. They get that, they pay off the medical collection. Now, when medical collections are paid off, they're supposed to now be deleted from the credit reports. So it could be as simple as that for us helping them correct, whatever issue that they have. So it is very rewarding though, like when they do it like you advise them to do and it works, and then you're able to get them closed and then they send you, a picture if you don't happen to make the closing, they send you a picture and text message and at the new house. And I'm like, that's awesome. I love it. Very, 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 very rewarding. Or, they didn't qualify for the home that they were wanting at a $300,000 purchase price and you help them brainstorm. Well, hey, you have your car loan, which you owe $10,000 on and your car payment's $650 a month. Have you thought about, you have a 401k that they can do a loan against and they could pay off that auto loan and then they may qualify to purchase that home then. Yeah. So just helping them strategize, or sometimes people think, hey, I want to put 20% down and the payment is higher than what they want. I was like, well, have you thought about maybe you could put 5% down and pay off your credit cards or your car loan or this installment loan? And then that ends up being less money out of pocket per month. So helping them strategize, that's exciting too.
Yeah. You had earlier talked about your class for realtors to make them, with enough information to be, slightly deadly. Do you have any educational outreach or programs or resources that you offer to help first-time buyers feel, confident and informed?
Well, there's an online home buyer course they can take through Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. They're both a little bit different that they can take online. And we have tons of PowerPoint presentations that we've done for first-time home buyer presentations over the years. We have the Mortgage 101 for the real estate agents that we've done over the years. So we can share that information with them. I mean, the easiest thing is to talk with a trusted lender, talk through it with them, talk with a trusted realtor. That's going to be the easiest way to kind of learn. But there's plenty of resources online that they could take advantage of.
If you could give one key piece of advice to every first-time home buyer or realtor helping them, what would it be?
Oh boy.
One key piece of advice.
Work with somebody that has your best interest in mind. It's not like I talked a buyer out of buying this week. I've talked a borrower out of doing a refinance this week because it didn't make sense. I was like, listen, guys, you got $25,000 of credit card debt. Your rent payment right now is, I think it was like $1,100 or $1,200, and they lived with a roommate. And I was like, listen, take advantage of that for right now. Don't jump into a $3,000 house payment with having $25,000 of credit card debt. Yeah. Getting a sale is not important to me. I want to set them up for success in the long run. So working with people that have your best interest in mind, a real estate agent is not going to, a good real estate agent is not going to try to pressure you to bump up your price point, and put you in a bad spot financially. Same with a trusted lender. They're not going to want to put you in a bad spot. I want you to be able to make your house payment.
Yeah. Yes. You kind of talked about, you said they can find stuff online, but is there anything directly you recommend for them to go, for our listeners to learn more about programs, learn more about guidance, any next steps? Is there anywhere you would direct them to go first?
I mean, there's plenty of things like, like YouTube.
YouTube.
You go to YouTube. Like we have a YouTube channel where we put different tips and things for real estate
Shout
agents,
that out.
for
What's
home
the YouTube
buyers.
channel you got?
Gabrielle's going to be mad at me. I'm
Just
not
do
sure.
it. Just do it.
I'm not sure what it's called.
Oh, you don't know it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just use Sean Miller Van Dyke Mortgage and YouTube, and I'm
Gabrielle's
sure
going to be mad when she
it would
listens
pop
to
up.
this. You are so in trouble.
I actually, I did overhear her talking with somebody that, hey, there's a name for a YouTube channel, but I actually have not looked on mine. So sorry, guys.
Search for your YouTube channel. It has some resources there.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna hit you with one last question because I know you gotta go because you're about to get in trouble now that you didn't know that YouTube name. What would be your final words of encouragement that you could offer to those preparing to buy their first home or to realtors helping them on that journey?
Well, I mean, the really exciting part right now with it being a little bit more of a buyer's market is like, you can negotiate transactions where it wasn't like that in 2020, 2021, 2022. Well, I guess technically you could negotiate, but it wasn't as easy to do that. Yeah. So now it's just really exciting to see that buyers can get sellers to contribute towards their prepays and closing cost. You can get sellers to take care of like repairs to homes where, sellers were digging their heels in. So I have a client right now buying a house. The seller's replacing the roof. They just put a new fence in the home. Another one, they're replacing like an AC. That you can get longer closing dates potentially. If you're not a first-time home buyer and you have a home to sell, like you can get contingent offers accepted where you can get, the seller to agree to make the purchase contract contingent upon the sale of the home. And that's not all the time, but that's really exciting part that we have in the mix again, where we didn't have that for a while. And we've seen improvements with interest rates too, of late. So that's been good. Hopefully we will not see the 7s and 8s in interest rates ever again. But
knock on the wood. But
for a while. And then we've been pretty consistently in the 6s and for government loans, even in the, in under 6%. So yeah. So, I mean, that's exciting. So take advantage of it. Because once if rates do come down significantly, which I don't know how much that would be, like it's just going to be a more competitive market then. It's going to be harder to get your offers accepted. So.
Oh man. Well, a huge thank you to Sean.
Thank you for having us
back again. And man, I'm glad that you were able to provide all this information to our listeners.
I said it all in one breath.
You did. Man, thank you for coming back to the Fabre Framework Studio, joining the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. And to all of our realtors listening, remember, home ownership begins with the right guidance, the right partners, and the right mindset.
And Star has a ton of good classes for you all to take that we would love to have you all come in person. When it's in person or on Zoom, there's great knowledge that can be learned. So come check it out.
Yes. Make sure you download, subscribe, share, turn on notifications so you never miss the heat from Hot Topics with more expert guests, real talk, and game-changing tips coming your way via Hot Topics. This is your host signing off. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries, delivering value, stay protected, and standing out like the star you are.